I'm not a lawyer, but let me catch you up on what happened in the YsL Rico trial this week. This is gonna be a few parts because I gotta tell y'all about the whole week. And FYI, the stream was a little bit choppy on Wednesday, so bear with me. So on Monday, a witness got on the stand to testify about overt act number 61. It involves Christian Eppinger, who is one of the co-defendants in the case, but he was severed from the trial a while ago, so he's having like his own separate trial. Witness is on the stand, and she tells the story of when she arrived home on May 11th, 2016 with her daughter. It was in the middle of the day, and as she's getting out of her car, she gets robbed.
I was just grabbing my stuff out the car. I had my purse that I was getting out of the car. My laptop was in the back. I just remember this kid walking up to me, and he had a gun to my head. And I just remember him saying, "Give me your keys." Then another older gentleman got out the car with a gun to my head, and he asked for my purse.
And was the suspect who approached you and robbed you, was he wearing a mask?
No.
Was he wearing any type of hood or hat on his head?
No.
Was there anything covering up his face?
No.
On cross-examination, Keith Adams didn't take long to get to the point of what he had to say.
Well, I'm gonna get right to the point.
Okay.
Jeffrey Williams was not at your car holding a gun to you on the day this incident occurred, correct?
That's correct.
Right. You have no reason to tell this jury, no personal knowledge that Jeffrey Williams was in any form or fashion involved with your carjacking on that day, true?
That's correct.
All right. Ms. Hill, that's all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Then Carrington Matthews also does a cross-examination.
You've had an opportunity to look about the courtroom over here, all the people that are sitting in this courtroom. In fact, Mr. Eppinger, you don't see him in this courtroom, right?
No. Yes.
And you don't see that older gentleman.
Correct.
And in fact, none of these individuals that are seated in this courtroom, to the best of your knowledge, had anything to do with what happened to you back in 2016. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Following that, investigator Belknap gets on the stand. If you remember, Belknap was the very first witness in this trial. He was the one who gave the history of Rock Crew and the creation of YsL. Belknap has been qualified as an expert on gangs. He's been in the gang unit for 14 years, and he's been investigating YsL for 11 years, including having direct encounters with some of the co-defendants. So Belknap gets on the stand, and prosecutors use his testimony to provide an understandings of gangs, how they operate, their signs and symbols, how officers investigate them. And since he's been investigating YsL since 2013, prosecutors also get him to talk through some pictures, videos, and tweets to connect Young Thug and some of his co-defendants more directly to YsL gang, SMM gang, and the Blood gang. Because as we all know, thus far, everything has felt very individualized. And so Belknap's testimony is really used to connect some of those pieces. One of the first things that Belknap addresses is that many patrol officers don't have the training to recognize gang identifiers, and that's why notes about gangs are not always included in police reports when someone is arrested. Because y'all know the defense has brought that up repeatedly.
Find sometimes that gap is the ability to recognize gang identifiers when seen, to understand the context of those gang identifiers, also to recognize the signs or indicators that a particular crime might relate to the gang's activities and not just be independent in nature.
Belknap also goes over how investigators determine if a crime is in furtherance of a gang or if it's just an individual crime that someone has committed.
Things like who did they commit the crime with, the location where the crime occurred, and we also look for evidence of the benefits of that crime. Is this a crime that's part of the gang's typical activities and therefore serves to maintain or enhance their reputation within the gang? We know that they are seeking that money, power, and respect, so we're looking for those motives behind an individual crime.
Prosecutor also asked Detective Belknap what a trap is and if YsL had one.
It's a place where narcotics are sold.
And specifically with YsL, have you identified a particular trap that they use?
There are several locations that they use. One of them, I believe, is 2539 Browns Mill Road. It was called The Web.
Before the state wraps up, she shows a bunch of content from social media that they've pulled, including some posts from Christian Eppinger, aka YsL Briss. She includes a picture of Shannon Stillwell and Quentin Porter, and a bunch of tweets from Young Thug's Twitter account to show gang association. And we are going to talk about those tweets in just a minute. She also shows this picture of Young Thug, but focuses in on the person in the background to prove that it's not uncommon for gangs in Atlanta to flip the illegal activity that their gangs are doing into a record label in order to make it appear to be legitimate.
The individual with the chains on in the back, do you know who that is?
It's Demetrius Flannery Jr.
Do you know who his father is?
Demetrius Flannery Sr.
And is Demetrius Flannery Sr. the founder of Black Mafia Family?
Yes. Black Mafia Family was a street gang that was a large nationwide drug trafficking organization. They did go by BMF.
Did BMF, after having their drug enterprise, try to start an entertainment group or a company?
They did. BMF Entertainment.
Is that uncommon for gangs to try and flip their business to make it appear legitimate?
Yes, other gangs have done this.
But once she's done, Max Shart, who represents Shannon Stillwell, is the first person to do cross-examination.
Demetrius Flannery, let's just talk about him, the individual in the picture. He was 5 years old when his father was incarcerated, is that correct?
I believe so, yes.
You are not sitting here claiming that the actor, Demetrius Flannery, is involved in illegal activity, are you?
Are we asking about senior or junior?
I'm asking about the individual in the photo that was shown.
Okay, no, I'm not alleging any criminal activity by him.
Then Max Shart asked Detective Belknap about all of the tweets that the prosecution showed that I haven't all the way got to, but it's coming. And he specifically notes how it looks like someone just did a keyword search on Twitter and printed it out.
And the state prepared a demonstrative and showed it to you. And you don't even know who pulled the post.
I don't know who specifically pulled the post, no.
Okay, and you notice that there's bolded words in those posts, correct?
I did.
So someone in the district attorney's office just searched Twitter for keywords such as shoot and blood and slime, correct?
I don't know who actually performed that search.
And then, before Max leaves, he brings up Fani Willis. Just watch.
Which individual is Mr. Fernando Crenshaw?
He would be the person on the right.
Do you know Fernando Crenshaw to go by a nickname?
YsL Mondo.
And to your knowledge, he was a founder of YsL.
He does claim to be a founder of YsL.
And this founder of YsL who lives in the Atlanta area, is he charged on this indictment?
He is not.
Was it, to your knowledge, the district attorney's office under Fani Willis who drafted this indictment?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Do you know whether Mondo has ever been represented by Fani Willis?
Objection, relevance.
I stand objection.
I have no further questions.
So the court takes a break, and when they get back from the break, Max Shart tells the judge that he has a few more questions.
Was it your testimony that it's a trap?
I don't believe that was my testimony.
Okay, so just to be clear to the jurors, you are not saying that the web is a trap house?
I don't believe that question was asked of me.
Okay, that's fair. So that's not your testimony?
I don't believe that I've testified to that.
Okay.
If it wasn't asked of me.
Come back for part 2 because we got to talk about these tweets and the fact that Bill ate down.